Hadithi Hadithi!
Hadithi Njoo, Hadithi Njoo.
Hello and welcome to Hadithi Hadithi, brought to you specifically by the Goethe-Institut, Kenya. In today's story, we take you to a certain country, a certain town, and a certain village in the same town. And in this village lived a young man and his mother. And the young man's name was Jack. Jack and his mother lived in a small house that had a small farm. They were quite poor, and they spent most of their days out in the farm, digging, planting, weeding. And sometimes they would go into the forest to chop firewood. Yes, they were quite poor, but what they had in plenty was love. Jack's mother absolutely adored her son. And in the evening, after the day's work was done, the two of them would sit around the fireplace and they would share stories. And Jack's mother would tell him stories about things that happened so many years ago, stories about the present, and stories about things that were yet to come. They would share stories about kings and princes and princesses, stories about the animals of the forest, stories about magic. And Jack especially loved stories around magic. Yes, stories where strange things happened. And sometimes when he went to bed, he would imagine himself as one of the characters in the stories. His mother especially loved the story about a goose that laid golden eggs. Yes, Jack and his mother enjoyed spending time together. They also had one old skinny cow whose name was Nguno. And sometimes when the cow thought it was well, it would give them some milk that they would have with their morning breakfast. One particular season, Jack's mother did not have money to buy seeds for them to plant. And she sat and thought. And she called Jack and said, "My son, please take Nguno, our old cow. Go and sell him at the marketplace. And please look for the best deal you can get. And the money you make from the sale, we will use it to buy some food and some seeds for us to plant in the farm." "Of course, Mama," Jack said. And he went to the cowshed and he took a rope and tied it on the neck of the cow. And he walked with it to the market. It was as he was walking that he came across an old man standing under a tree, and in front of him was stones of different shapes, different sizes, different colors. And there was already a crowd gathering around the old man, and he was calling out, Nialeo, nialeo, mali safi, nialeo, 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 mali safi, nialeo. Oh, come to me, all you who have problems, and I am going to solve them with a stone from my collection. All your problems will be gone, and all this at a very fair price. Old man, I see you over there, and I know exactly what your problem is, eh? I know your wife left you, and you would like to have her back. If you buy this stone from me, I promise you, she'll be back by midnight today. Oh, young lady, I can see the sadness in your eyes. You'd like your husband to love you more, no? Huh? Buy this and boil it and then drink the water and your answers. Buy this, put it in water, boil it, drink it, and your dreams will come true. And looking around at Jack, he said, "You young man, I see you. I know what your problem is, eh? You'd like that beautiful young lady who is in your neighbor's family to come and love you. Like the way you do. This is the magic potion. It will work very well for you." Jack laughed and said, "No, I'm sorry. I'm going to the market to sell our cow. Because the money I make from it, I would like to buy some seeds that we can plant in our farm." "Seeds? Say no more," said the old man. And he put his hand into his pocket and brought out a handful of beans and showed them to Jack, saying, "Seeds? You've got it. Here you go. Seeds for you at a very fair price." No, I think you got me wrong. I do not have money to buy seeds. What I want to do is to go to the market and sell our cow, and then I will use the money to buy the seeds. But why go to the market? Well, you can trade your cow for my seeds. The old man said, "Give you our cow for a handful of bean seeds? I don't think that's a fair deal. Do you think so?" "Oh, no. These are not just any beans. No, these are magic beans." Magic. The word vibrated in Jack's head, and he tried to imagine, what exactly could magic beans do? Do magic beans cook themselves? Magic beans. Maybe it's beans that don't have an end. And he thought. He was tempted and he said, "All right, magic beans? Very well. Oh, yes, these are magic beans. And I promise you, if you have these beans, they will change your life forever." And Jack handed over the cow to the old man, and the old man gave him the handful of beans, and he put them in his pocket, and he ran back home. Jack's mother was in the kitchen when she heard her son coming back. "Jack, is that you? That was quick. Did you have a good deal?" "A good deal, did you say? Mama, I had a most amazing deal. I got something better than money." "Better than money? Jack, what did you trade our cow for?" And Jack put his hand into his pocket and showed his mother the seeds. "I traded our cow for these seeds." Jack, did you trade our cow for this handful of bean seeds? Oh no, Mama, they're not just any kind of seeds. They are magical. But Jack's mother was so angry and she took the seeds and threw them outside the window. And then she just sat down and burst into tears. Jack knew that he had disappointed his mother and he felt really sad. And that night, he could not sleep. He just tossed and turned in his bed. And come morning, he woke up very early, wanting to go down to the kitchen and apologize to his mother. And he went to the kitchen, but there was no one there. It was quite dark, so he opened the kitchen window. And to his shock and amazement, outside the window was a giant beanstalk, as wide as the house. And he popped his head out and he looked up, but he could not see how high the tree went. And he thought to climb out the window and look. And looking up, farther than his eyes could see, the tree stood. He became curious, and he thought, well, I would like to find out where the tree goes. And he climbed it. Using the giant bean leaves. And he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed. He was soon higher than the roof of the house. But still, he climbed on and on and on. And he could soon see the roofs of all the houses in the village. Yet, there was still more tree to climb. And he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed, and he climbed. And when he looked down, everything in the village looked like small, tiny ants. But still, he climbed on and on and on. And finally, when he could not see anything else below him, he looked around and he saw that he was at the edge of the tree and he was in a completely different, strange country. Forests, different types of trees and grass and a house, a big house with smoke coming out of its roof. Jack felt quite hungry and he thought, well, maybe he could go and have some breakfast at the house. And he walked to the house and he knocked. And an old lady opened the house. And she looked quite shocked to see Jack standing there. Who are you and what brings you here? She said. And Jack explained who he was and how he had bought some beans and they had been thrown out of the kitchen window and how they had grown into a big tree that he had followed up. And then asked for something to eat. And the old lady said, no, you cannot be here. My husband is a giant and he loves eating human flesh. He's just gone out. But when he comes back for his breakfast, he will want to eat you. You have to go. But Jack really begged because he was really, really hungry. And the old lady felt pity on him and agreed to make him some breakfast that he was to eat as fast as he could and go before the giant came back. And Jack sat down and enjoyed the breakfast. And he was just finished and about to say thank you when they heard it. Heavy steps approaching the house. Oh, that must be my husband. What to do? You can't leave now. And the old lady told Jack to hide in a big basket that was behind a big, big seat. And she closed the basket. And from outside, the steps became louder. And the giant was soon at the door, and he opened the door and said, "Woman, where is my breakfast?" "Is that human flesh I smell? Whoever it is, I will have them for my breakfast." But the old lady said, "My husband, you must be going crazy in your old age. When was the last time humans visited us in this our country? Come on, your breakfast is ready. Come and have a seat." And the giant went and sat down on the big, big chair. And the breakfast was brought, a whole goat. And he ate it noisily. And when he was done, he called out, "Woman, goose." And from the kitchen, the old lady came, holding a white goose. And from where he was hiding, Jack peeped to see the old lady hand the goose to the giant. And the giant put it next to him and said, "Goose, egg." And believe it or not, the goose laid an egg at the command, and not just any egg, but a golden egg. And the old lady went back to the kitchen, and the giant, sitting there, called out once more, "Woman, music." And as soon as he fell asleep, Jack jumped from the basket that he was hiding in and tiptoed towards the door. And then he saw the goose and thought, "A goose that lays golden eggs, just like the stories my mother says." And went through the kitchen. And in the kitchen, saw the string instrument that was playing such lovely music. And Jack took the musical instruments and walked out. And once he was out of the door, he ran as fast as he could towards the tree. And when he got to the top, he climbed down the tree as fast as he could, with the goose under one arm and the musical instrument on the other hand. He climbed down as fast as his legs could take him. Back in the house, the giant, who loved sleeping with music on, wondered what was going on. His sleep had been interrupted, and even without opening his eyes, he called out, "Woman, music." Silence. "Woman, I said music," he said, opening his eyes, only to realize that even his goose was missing. And he stood up and walked to the kitchen with his giant steps. And the kitchen was empty as well. And when he peeped through his window, he could see the now small form of Jack climbing down the tree as fast as he could. And the giant followed him with its thunderous steps. By the time the giant began climbing down, Jack was halfway down the tree, And he climbed down and climbed down. And when he saw the roof of their house, he called out, "Mother, mother, come with an axe." And Jack's mother, who was in the kitchen, came up with an axe and looked up the tree and saw her son climbing down and the giant following. And she began to chop at the tree. And as soon as Jack could, he jumped to the ground from the tree, took the axe, and his many years of working on the farm, many years of chopping wood paid, for with one big chop, he brought the tree down and the giant with it. Jack and his mother and the white goose and the musical instruments went into the house. And Jack explained to his mother, exactly what had happened that particular morning. And as they talked, yet another surprise waited. For the string instruments began to squeak and to move and to stretch. And it changed form to become the old lady who had welcomed Jack into the giant's house. And even more shocking was when the old lady and Jack's mother embraced with tears running down their eyes, as Jack's mother told him that the woman was actually a sister, her own sister who had disappeared many years ago with absolutely no trail. Jack, his mother, the newly found aunt, lived for many, many years together. And they took good care of the golden goose, which faithfully gave them an egg every day. And they would sell this egg. And with the money that they made, Jack bought his mother many more cows and sheep and goats and chicken and a big farm. And they used the money not just to make themselves comfortable, but to the benefit of the whole community as well. Well, that's the end of our story today, brought to you by the Goethe-Institut, Kenya.